Friday, everyone. How are you? How's my heart? Full. Nice and full. Enjoying the solace here by the lake. How's everyone this morning? Where am I going? Maybe I'll just head over to this picnic table. Good morning, everyone. How are you? So, let me look where I'm going, then I'll show you where I am. It's another beautiful lake here in Washington. Let's see. Good morning. Oh, you're sad you're missing your dad. Sorry to hear about transition of your father. Sending you and your family some love. Oh wow. Check it out. Let's see if I can get my fingers. Got a couple of ducks doing their thing. And a scraggler. Wait, let's see. This is all backwards. I'm gonna make myself comfortable here. And I figured I'd come on this morning and just connect with you guys. We did a Q&A a few days ago. And I figured we could continue. There were a lot of questions I wasn't able to answer. And so if you guys got any questions or any thoughts about anything, I'm available for that this morning. Let me get right here on my little perch here. Heart is healing. Let's see if I can catch up in this chat here. Healed people heal people. Yes, I do agree. I agree so much. I have a shirt in my mantra merch store that says that. And there's a song I used to sing called Healed People Heal People. Do I paint? I occasionally will, but I'm not a gifted visual artist. The guitar's in the truck. I'm in Central Washington. How do I find courage within struggling? Good question. I think of courage as a muscle, honestly. It's a skill, and you simply have to exercise it. So I like to kind of step out of my emotions a bit, try to find a little life hack to step out of my emotions, because usually it's not that you don't want whatever you are striving for when you're feeling that resistance. It's that the emotions are really heavy. So often there is something in the heart, old hurt, maybe an old pattern of self-degradation that was learned behavior or a response to your close family member, parents, or someone who you respected not seeing you in one way or another. So I tend to start there and then embrace a practice of forgiveness. Loving kindness meditation is very powerful for that. And then I slowly just inch by inch embrace my courage and ask yourself, what would I do if I weren't afraid? And then once you know the answer, just start. Don't ponder too long. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Where do I get these fly hats? This is a hat I bought on the street in Mexico some years ago, and I just love it. It's nothing fancy, but I like how I feel when I wear this hat. And as much as I'm outdoors, it protects my head from the sun. Can you talk about how to deal with the feeling of getting stuck and not knowing what to do? Tridius, Dr. Idius? Yeah, sure. I actually was talking to a client recently who's signed up for my breakthrough package in my heart-centered coaching offering. And it's all about the breakthrough. And so much of being stuck is really just, it relates to the heart. You're living by someone else's rule book. And you're like, well, I'm doing all the quote unquote right things, is usually what I hear 9 times out of 10. And what they mean by right things are what everyone else says you should do, whether it's a societal, measure, or it's, the people in your circle who are telling you, oh, you should do this, you should do that. But the practice of getting connected to self and your heart and knowing what is true for you, what is your personal rule book, your personal life intention or professional intention, whatever area of your life you're trying to address, you're not honoring that, which is why you feel stuck. So I encourage you actually just to start with the journaling practice, like the Rise Journal, and start getting clear about your heart. And beyond asking, how is your heart? Ask what your heart is longing for. And sometimes it might be freedom, it might be joy. And see if you can embody that in your work or your life, whatever area you're feeling stuck. How can you embody freedom in your personal life, more freedom, or more freedom in your work life? Because it's all here. Let's see what else. My daughter struggles with daddy issues, which carries over into her adult male relationships. Any guidance? Yeah. The energy we hold is the energy that will unfold. So until she gets to a place where she can forgive personally, I don't know what the situation is with the father figure. And he's not even necessary. His presence isn't necessary for her to do her work. But it is about really recognizing what the hurt is, how it shows up for her. Many times, whatever that hurt is, maybe a sense of unworthiness or not being seen, and acknowledging that. And then asking, is it true? Which, of course, it isn't. And then recognizing what is true, right? So, of course, she's infinitely worthy, priceless, invaluable. But getting to a place where she knows that for herself with a simple affirmation practice, finding ways to forgive in a deeper level. I like to write letters in my journal to those who I need to forgive, to work through that, to decharge that whole belief in the mind that is blocking growth, healing, and progression. And I feel like when she's in that place where she's forgiven and realigned her beliefs with reality, what she knows to be true about herself, then things will change. She can see the world differently, and she won't be looking for a familiar pattern, which is our comfort zone, which is whatever the relationship is with the father. She'll be looking for someone who embodies supporting her sense of self-worth, value, and love. Am I living in Washington? So for those of you who don't know, I'm a full-time nomad. I travel the country exploring and doing in-person events, music, meditations, talking engagements, And right now I'm just exploring Washington State. So unfortunately, I couldn't give your son any advice about where to live. Let's see. What else do we have here? What do you do when feeling overwhelmed with life and not enough money? Well, the overwhelm is easy. It's meditate. Because it's one thing to be experiencing a financial deficit. It's another thing to be experiencing an emotional imbalance. Okay? So if you are in that place right now, take a moment to breathe. Just to simply get grounded, reconnected to the breath. And as you breathe, I like to focus on what feelings, thoughts, and emotions are coming up. So maybe it's some issues with self-worth, right? Because we tend to hold on to the belief that we are what we earn. No matter how untrue that is, it is a very prominent belief in society. So that could be one, and I'm sure there's several others. But as that comes up, just focus on it. And as you exhale, let it go. This slows down the beta frequency of your mind that's just bouncing back and forth to all the different thoughts and worries and fears. And then you can address, well, what fears do I have? Am I going to be able to pay this? Am I going to be able to pay that? Am I going to be able to pay rent? And then you can balance out a little bit and recognize all I need is a strategy. All I need is a plan. All I need is the next right step. Okay, so that's like the overwhelm, because the fear and worry can become a loop, a downward spiral, if we don't address it, put an end to it, and then just create a plan, an action plan. So I would encourage you to do that first. And then get clear, maybe ask some deeper questions about your relationship to money. Many times it comes from some heavy issues with money and what it means. Some people believe money is the root of all evil, or even the love of money. And I think your relationship to money will play a large role in how you present to the world your self-worth, what things you will and won't go for, what things you will ask for, what things you won't ask for. I personally believe that money is an energy exchange. So I put out my highest vibration, right? Everything is a manifestation of the energy that we are holding. And that is returned to me when I offer and share through the gifts that I've been given. And as someone who came from an ideology that I was brought up in where money was bad or money was the root of all evil, or even the love of money, I've now been able to replace that with, as money comes in, money is green, like the anahata, the heart center. So I see it coming into my heart, and as it comes into my heart gets bigger. Why? Because I don't have as much financial strain to worry about. I know that I have security. I know that that is a symbol that what I'm offering, people are wanting to value the same way that I value it. And that is a confidence builder, right? And so it makes me want to share more. It makes me want to give more. And it also gives me the ability to fiscally give more to the organizations and to the people that I love. So I would encourage you to get connected to a meditation practice to ground the overwhelm, and then get clear about your relationship to money, combined with an action plan to move through this season until you get to your abundance phase, until it is realized. Let's see what else is going on here. Sorry guys, I'm trying to catch up. There's a lot of comments and the chat stopped moving. Good morning, Pooja. It's good to see you. Let's see. Oh, here's a question from Smile Love Nap. How can I feel my heart? I only feel my mind. Good question. And I want to ask you a couple of questions, actually. You say you only feel your mind. I think the mind is the place where we think. So feeling, the fact that you can feel your mind means you're already in your heart. I think you can take your feelings up to your head because you don't want to feel what's really here, right? It's a distraction. All the thoughts. Can I control the situation? Can I learn more information about what I've experienced? That way I'll never experience again, I'll never hurt, and I'll never suffer. And you do this thing where your mind goes 90 to nothing, trying to prevent life from happening. So, I want to challenge you to take a moment to breathe. It's really simple. I'm not saying it's easy. Breathe and be with your feelings. And allow yourself to witness those thoughts. And after you're done witnessing, continue to ask, how is my heart? What is my heart longing for? And as you hold space there, it'll feel uncomfortable at first. You might get quote unquote bored, which is another way to distract yourself from feeling what you need to feel. Most people are in their heads. It's because they're afraid to feel whatever hurt has come up in their world. And they get really loud and get their minds really busy and their bodies really busy. But the way out is in. So you have to go inward, right? And not just inward, but then once you see what is there, the hurt, you have to go through it. Allow yourself to feel it. Allow the hurt to be a teacher. Allow the experience to show you the wisdom of love. The ducks agree, apparently. But allow yourself to feel it. And meditation is the key. So I hope that helps you there. Let's see. There's another question here. When you're normally very passive and timid, but the feelings of betrayal have become more intense, how do you process the anger and still keep a loving heart, showing your best and seeing the best in others? How do you process the anger? Great question. As someone who comes from that place as well, I can relate. And much of my process has been schedule your anger. And what I mean is, it's a very valid experience, especially if you've experienced betrayal. But find a productive outlet for your anger. So for a while, I used to kickbox, and that was really good for me. I would go to my kickboxing class, get it out in the bag, especially as a Leo, a fire sign. Got a lot of fire in my chart. That was a good way for me to do it. But also walking. I don't know what physical activity it would be for you. There's even, I think they're called like break rooms. You can literally pay to go to this space and break things. So one way or another, figure out how to schedule your anger in a productive way, because you need to release that. But then keep a loving heart, showing your best. So this is a more complex issue that would be particular to your situation, and I definitely need more information to address it precisely. But generally, we know that hurt people. So there is a space once you've processed your anger, gotten a bit more grounded, and can witness the story, both sides even-handedly. You can see that they're only offering what they have. And unfortunately, what they have is a lot of hurt, unprocessed, probably trauma, and who knows what else, right? I'm not saying it's fair. It's not fair. Life's not fair. What I am saying is when you can witness that they are giving what they have, you can embrace compassion for them. And once you've embraced compassion, you can also embrace compassion for yourself and whatever you're feeling, and knowing that the goal in life is not to always be happy or optimistic or all of these things, toxic positivity. The goal is to be a conscious observer, because when you can consciously observe, you can experience conflict without suffering, or with less suffering, or move through it more quickly, because that's a given in this life. It's just why we're here. It's how we learn. But once you've forgiven, then you can decide, is this person healthy for me to be in my life? If they aren't doing their work, right? And so that's the deeper part of this question that I wouldn't know unless we had some type of one-on-one or something. But once you recognize that that person is hurt, you can realize they're just having a human experience, just like the rest of us. And I can still hope the best for them and know that it's actually not my place to even judge them on this one occurrence or this season of their life. My place is to take care of me. And so figuring out what you need to do for you around this person or this relationship is always the best place to start. Oh, you're welcome. All right, I'm trying to catch up on some of these. Someone asked me, will I come to Germany? Maybe. If I get an invite. All right, what else do we have here? For those just coming in, I'm just taking questions today. We had a Q&A a few days ago, and there were a lot of questions unanswered, so I figured I'd come on this morning. And part of the reason you don't see the guitar, guys, also is it's Washington. It's one of those kind of light, rainy mornings. So I always prefer to be outside, and if the weather's like this, I don't want to bring my instruments out because it could ruin it. Let's see. Nika World says, do we always attract the things we go through and people we meet? Are they really a reflection of our inner world? That's a great question. And yes and no is how I want to respond. So on one hand, we do attract, similarly to, I'm not sure who it was who was asking about the daughter with the issues with her father and attracting a partner who had similar issues. But it's more to do, the way I see it is our comfort zones, what's familiar, right? So if you've got an old relationship with a father or someone in your past and it's toxic, even though that's familiar, you will unconsciously be drawn to people with a similar pattern until you replace that pattern with something else. So in that way, we do attract, or we are attracted to, right? Similar, like-minded people. That's why you have your friends, right? And maybe you can look back in different seasons of your life. Your friends from middle school, you guys all liked a particular band or a particular hobby. And now, as you've grown, those relationships have shifted, and now you have a new circle, right? Some of those people grew and shifted with you, some of those didn't. And so in that way, I think they are a reflection of our inner world. But in another way, I think life brings us people sometimes to challenge us. And so they have a little mix of both, just enough to pique our interest, but also just enough difference to offer a new perspective. Let's see. How did I find my calling? Good question. Honestly, earnest seeking is the concise version. Earnest seeking. So, think I recognized at a young age that kind of just chasing the bag, like doing whatever you had to do just to get money, wasn't the way to happiness. So I always was trying to connect to my heart and see what things brought me joy. And then once I got clearer on those, then I always recognized that in this day and age, you can do just about anything and make a living. It may take a little bit more processing, or you might be a trendsetter in an area, depending on your niche. So that was my approach. But it's seeking in the heart and also surrender. So my belief is that everything that we need is already within us, just like every other thing on this planet. You know, the information for these trees to grow up and do their thing, become beautiful, absorb the sunlight, right, do all their processes, was in the seed. And I think the same is true for us. However, with our intellect and the way our world is built, there is a struggle between the authentic self and the looking glass self, which is an idea, I think it was it Emerson? And the looking glass self is basically, I am not who you think I am. I am not who I think I am. I am presenting myself as who I think you think I am, right? So when we go into circles, we try to see, oh, will they like me if I do this, right? It's kind of this complicated form of manipulation. So getting clear about what is authentic for self and seeking that space in a way that allows you to surrender to your natural longings. So when I'm asking how's your heart, like, how are you really feeling? But what am I longing for? Do I need to dance? Do I need to create? Do I need to embody some sense of freedom or try something new? And usually your heart will speak just the next step. It won't give you everything because honestly, you're not ready for it. There's so much more depth to who you are than you realize at this moment. And to use my own personal example, 10 years ago, I was just playing jazz guitar and I enjoyed it. But if you would have told me then that I'd be in nature, certified meditation teacher, sharing the way I'm sharing now, I wouldn't have believed you. And in fact, it probably would have pushed me further away from it because, right, our ego many times has this finite idea of who we are. We have a very poor natural ability to self-reflect with accuracy. It's scientifically proven. So life kind of works that way as its own guru. Your heart works that way as its own guru. So I would encourage you to continue to seek in your heart and surrender to the next right step. Don't try to have it all figured out right now. Let go. The other part of that is to let go of the control. And next thing you know, you'll be living a life that was co-created with your heart, and it supports everything that you are in a way that you never knew possible. Let's see what else we have. Okay, so I see Melissa says, I have struggles separating my feelings from those around me. It can be so overwhelming. Help. Yeah, that's the empaths struggle. I imagine most of you in here are probably empaths. So what I would offer is, one, find a grounding practice. Because the thing about empaths, many of us, before we learned how to manage the energy, the empathy, we feel victim to it and we hate it because it's so easy for us to get thrown off. right? And especially in an extrovert-driven world where we're supposed to be social all the time and go to these events and functions for all kinds of reasons, we feel a lot of pressure to be something other than who we are. So I want to, one, say, find a grounding practice. One of mine is honestly nature. It's meditation, it's journaling, it's a workout, but it's usually something that you do in solace by yourself when you have less stimulus. Or if you do have stimulus, it's on the level that you want. Like even peace. So as an empath, we're always absorbing. So I'm absorbing this. Find a way to get that support. Maybe you need to just go out and get in nature yourself. The other part of it is, you're saying separating your feelings. I think the other thing is, if you're like me, and maybe many empaths, we don't realize that we spend so much time in other people's energy and other people's feelings that we don't know what our own feel like, which is why we get overwhelmed and lost and confused, and we kind of quickly commit to something and then want to, change our mind later because that really wasn't true for us. It took us like a day to figure that out. So when you spend that time alone, after you get grounded, get used to tuning in. Oh, this is how I feel when I'm not with anyone. This is me, right? And then if you have any questions about decisions in your life, ask, is that what I really want? Does that bring joy? Does that spark joy, right? Marie Kondo. Something that I do. Oftentimes if I'm processing through a question, whether it's something very simple, like do I want to go to an event, or if it's a bigger life decision, I don't even ask. I just try to visualize myself experiencing the different options and seeing how my body responds. And many times I'll know very quickly if my body is like tenses up, or if I feel lighter or I feel excited, then I'll know pretty quickly, okay, it's that decision. So that's one way to kind of like get grounded, get clear about your energy, and then also have a strategy for in the moment. When you're with a lot of people and they want to pressure you to give you an answer right away. This is another part of the empowered empath, is to simply acknowledge your process and own your process and recognize that no one has the right to dishonor your process or to cajole you into theirs. So if they want an answer right away, like, hey, I really appreciate the invitation. It sounds interesting, but I need some time to think about it. I'm not sure which decision feels right for me, but I'll see what resonates and I'll get back to you. Give yourself time. You know it's going to take you time. And now that's kind of my default many times. Just make it your default, even if you think you know. Give yourself that grace, because I've experienced that way too many times at this point in my life, and I know better. It's like, what has been consistent about me in that decision-making process? And in that way, you start building stronger boundaries. You're more empowered in your empathy, and you recognize the people around you who actually see you and can respect you and validate you as a human and appreciate all parts of you, and those who might have been energy vampires, right? Because that might be another part of the situation that might be relevant. Okay, I think I have time for maybe one more question, then I'm gonna go eat breakfast. You're welcome. I'm seeing a lot of gratitude coming in the comments. You're very welcome. Let's see what else we have. Let's see. Is it Jim? I'm not sure. Jimmy the 6th, 16th. I feel like my mind and heart take too much time to process or move through, around or avoid a situation. Any thoughts? First, yes, several thoughts. There's no set time for you to process any experience. So I want to first kind of give you a little bit of space between your expectation and reality. Your process is your process. And I'm not saying it can't shift and be quicker, but I do know as soon as you put yourself into resistance to whatever way it's unfolding, you actually make it longer and you make it more difficult because you suffer. Because now instead of focusing on the issue, you're focusing on the timeline and not the issue. So you're not even processing the issue. You're just worried that it's not happening. Also, the reason that you might be doing that is because you don't want to feel it. And don't rush your process. I think it's happening at the pace that you are available for at this point in your life. And I think what's more important is not the timeline. What's more important is what you're learning. What is this experience offering you? So I would challenge you to say, in those moments where you're feeling like you take too long to process or you want to move through this quicker, postpone judgment on the timeline and get to the core of the situation and ask, okay, what has this, whatever it is, come to teach me? This betrayal, this conflict, this heartbreak, what does it come to teach me? And create a space to actually sit with it and process it without judgment, without the need for a timeline. And usually I've found that when you come to it earnestly and grounded and clear and available, you move through it with more ease. There's also another approach that I learned from Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith. And let me see if I can get his wording correct. I think it's something like, okay, if this experience were to last for all of eternity, what qualities within me would have to arise for me to experience peace? And when you look at it that way, and you can recognize and honor the fact that life is always teaching you and giving you an opportunity, right? Many times we see these things as problems. I'm not saying they aren't challenging. They probably are, usually are. But there are also opportunities. And so if you can embrace it, eyes wide open, as an opportunity, then you can learn consciously and move through it with more ease. And you'll get there. But you can't focus on that. Because if you're focused on rushing in the time, you may actually, what you're probably going to do is suppress the issue. And it's going to come back again in another form. And now you have to experience it again because you didn't get the full wisdom from the first time. And hopefully it's only 2. If you're like me, it's probably going to take you 12 times or more. But I hope that helps. Jimmy the 16th, if I know my Roman numerals. Okay. All right, beautiful souls. It's been a pleasure to connect with you all this morning. I wish I could answer all your questions. If you have more questions, though, maybe I'll do a Q&A on my podcast, Hello, Beautiful Souls. And, sorry, like a spider just came out of nowhere. And address these questions maybe in bulk, condense them down. I tend to get similar types of questions, so hopefully that's a way to do it more concisely. But let me just double check. I'm scrolling through this one more time. Oh, Moonchild's asking me, are my one-on-one coaching sessions recorded? Yes. So let me fill you guys in on that. So I do offer the one-on-one coaching. It's heart-centered life coaching, which is basically acknowledging the truth in your heart to, honestly, I feel like it's the root of most of our issues, is just not embodying that truth or not being aware of it. So all the sessions are recorded on like Zoom, video and audio, for you to refer back to. And there's a guided meditation in the heart-to-heart, the single session. In the breakthrough session, we go deeper. There's 5 total sessions. And I create personalized meditations depending on what is needed for your particular situation. And then the authentic self is the top tier package for 12 sessions. And it's a whole personalized meditation experience for 3 to 6 months, depending on how quickly you want to move through. And that personalized meditation experience is several meditations in sequence to help you process through whatever hurt, into clarity of heart, into actualization of that newfound truth in your heart. So hope that helps. There's links in my bio for all the things. If you just, it's the first one. I think it's heart-to-heart coaching or something like that. I'm not sure what the language is there. But if that resonates for any of you, it's available for you. And hope to connect to you all again soon. Be well, beautiful souls. Have a good day. Peace.